Welcome back into the film room, guys. I'm your host, Eric Turner. As always, joined by my boy, Anthony Prohaska from Disguise Coverage. What up, Ant?
Super disappointed. Bills laid an egg against Houston. Just bad football all around. No, I'm super pumped. It's Chiefs week. Nice momentum building win against Houston to pile on with the wins against Washington and wins against Miami. And we're back in the film room. We have some great clips and some great players to talk about and analyze some stuff and add some context. And I'm excited. And I appreciate you having me back as always.
Yeah, of course, man. Hey, we appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll give you a couple minutes to get settled in here. And yeah, Greg says Chiefs week. Absolutely, man.
Right.
And it's still early though. Come on, let's not jump the gun here, Greg.
True, right.
We still gotta evaluate the film still from last week.
The Aaron Quinn, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes.
Yeah, pump the brakes, as Aaron Quinn says. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Greg's giving it to you off the bat.
He gave a Harry Potter reference with the anti.
You nerds are taking over the film room. It's over. It's all over.
That's awesome.
Smedley's saying Bills by 30 this weekend. I hope. I mean, we can only hope, right?
I would love that. Sorry, that was really good.
All right. Yeah, do some roll call, guys, in the chat room. We appreciate everyone joining us. Let us know where you're tuning in from tonight. We're going to be doing a film room, a little bit on offense, a little bit on defense. We're going to start on the defensive side. We're going to talk about Tremaine Edmonds, Ed Oliver. You'll see some other names sprinkled in there as well, of course, because we're going to be breaking down some of their film. We're going to talk about Josh Allen, of course, because it's every week there's going to be at least, even if it's not a full Josh Allen episode, there's going to be probably 4, 5, or 6 plays of him making Josh Allen plays. So we have a few plays for him. Some of them that you've seen, some of them that people haven't really posted on Twitter. We'll talk about and quiz you on. Lexington, Kentucky moved again. Jason, dude, we appreciate you tuning in, man. You're always in there in the film room with us. We appreciate it. Stash 64 says 49. Tremaine Edmonds kicked ass. He did, man. He did. He had a good game. Played really fast. Oh, there's our boy. There he is.
Love John.
Johnny.
Love his comment too there. Spencer Brown. Yeah, that's the tweet.
It really is, though. If you guys, I added TikTok to the platform to cover one. So we do have TikTok at cover_1_ cover one's taken. So if you're on TikTok, or if not, download the Spy app and watch some film breakdowns with us. I did break down Spencer Brown this week on TikTok, and I posted on YouTube and some of it on Twitter. So definitely take a look at that. John's right, man. 79 took souls versus Houston. You know, yeah. I started that breakdown off with some PFF grades, hoping that people would realize that they know I don't like PFF grades. But then after watching all those clips, realizing like, what the hell were they looking at? The guy was really, really good in his first start, very poised, and his athleticism showed. So, John, we appreciate you tuning in as always, and you know the contributions there. Another super chat here, Ben Blair, $2. Appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. We love doing this, man. We were just talking before we went live how afterwards, like, we're just always amped after, and not just after a game and doing the post game show, but after these shows, it's always like, man, that was fun. And it usually takes me a little while to decompress from these film breakdowns.
Yeah, we usually start we finish the episode and then for at least, I don't know, usually anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes, you and I are DMing back and forth about how the episode went and good comments or awesome moments or things that we know are going to translate well to snippets and teasers for the episode. And yeah, I mean, this type of platform and forum that, you've created and allowed me to be a part of is so awesome. And it's even better that the members of, Cover One Premium and the fan base that we have all appreciate everything that gets done, and they have a thirst for it and a knowledge for it. And it's just awesome that we're able to, provide that and be appreciated for it. It's an awesome time.
Yeah. And talk about that, because we do have premium memberships, guys. We have a monthly and a yearly membership. And, the big draw for this is just, access to us and everything like that. The contributors, all the personalities that we have, and we have a lot of them. And tell them a little more what they get with the premium membership.
So the premium membership is something that, I thought was one of the coolest pieces about Cover One when I came aboard that I didn't know about really enough initially. And it's so much. You get the early access to the new content, and you get the access to all the contributing members of Cover One. You get the premium Slack channel access, which I think is, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably biased because I like all of us, but it's super cool just to be literally in like one giant group DM that is just a constant, consistent back and forth communication at all times of every single day, during games, post game, pre-game, Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Tuesday nights, everything. Like everybody's active and in there and engaging. And then you also get
different channels too. That's what's cool. And there's a film channel. There's, the Bills general channel, those analytics channels. There's
fantasy channel,
all different fantasy channel. There's a lot of different things that we talk about on a daily basis. And we definitely Slack around on that Slack application there.
Oh, 1,000%. And then obviously all the piece, like the in-depth written content and everything you get from Kaiir and Rob Quinn up on the Cover One premium side of the website, just every week, multiple times a week, going with in-depth breakdowns and content. I can't count how many times, like not even as a plug, like how many times in an episode of Disguised Coverage I've been like, I was reading Rob Quinn's article and he said this and this, and that's where I got the idea for this and this. Like it's just an awesome way to stay engaged and up on everything that's going on for the Bills. And it's not just, not to knock anybody else, but it's not fluff. It's not just like, oh, so-and-so who's famous thinks Josh Allen is good. Come read this article on our site. It's like, no, like here's some. Go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned, you get ideas from not just Rob, but that's what the Slack channel is good for too, is like, I'll throw ideas and at the wall in the Slack channel and get people's opinions, what type of content they like, what they want, talked about. Rooster's Haven here is asking if there's any breakdown on Bakker today. Not really. You'll see some plays with him in there. But again, you bring that to the Slack channel. Guess what? I'm working on it. I'll put up some clips in the film channel, stuff like that. So it's fun, man. It's all around a good time. It becomes family, right? It's a great community.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I think one of the coolest things for me this off season, I went to multiple preseason games with Greg, and there were people who came up and were like, hey, I'm so-and-so from the Slack channel. And it was like, oh my God, like, dude. And just sitting and watching football and talking football with everybody from the Slack channel, being able to do it live and in person. Yeah, it's a nonstop group of engagement and premium content piece. And you're also going to get the in-game breakdowns in that Slack channel as well. And just so all the content, the early access, the premium Slack, the breakdowns, the written content, it's all solid. And I think, again, I'm probably biased, but the price point, $39.99 for a year, I think is pretty awesome. But what's really cool, what we've started to do this week and what we want to talk about in this episode is if you drop a super chat of $30 in this episode, you get that yearly membership for this entire year. So again, that yearly membership is normally $39.99. If you drop a $30 super chat in this episode, you get that Cover One premium access for $10 less than you would normally get. So for a lot of you guys who are already here, if you're not in on that Slack channel and the Cover One premium membership and all that, drop that $30 super chat. You see that little ticker drop in there on the bottom of how we're going to operate that and send it the YouTube handle, and we'll manage everything through the Cover One Gmail address and add you and get you all set up. And it's, again, we're not just pumping it to pump it. It's something that, we're going off the feedback we've gotten from a lot of people of how rewarding it is and how great it is. And honestly, it's rewarding for us too. The more people we get to engage with and more perspectives and thoughts and ideas and viewpoints that we can add to, our group makes us better as content creators and allows us to, put out a better product for everybody.
Absolutely. No. Okay. Let's get down to the fun. All right. That's enough with the promotions. Let's talk some Bills. Let's talk overall, it was a great game by the Bills. Obviously, I said we're going to talk about Edmonds, Oliver, Morse, and Allen. But on offense, 26 first downs, 12 rushing, 12 passing, 450 net yards, 40 points. Man, they couldn't get a 50 burger. Like, come on.
Slacking.
Defense. Yeah, they're slacking, man. On defense, they held Houston to 6 first downs, 109 net yards, 5 turnovers, and then the goose egg. They shut him down. Bobby Belt, he's a producer for NFL Network. He had a great tweet today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I'll read it to you. He said the most net passing yards the Bills on defense have allowed this year is 212, and the most rushing yards they allowed is 78. The last team to allow fewer than 215 passing yards and fewer than 80 yards rushing in 4 straight games, the 2008 Baltimore Ravens. So obviously obviously competition matters. Quarterbacks that they face, all of that matters. But it doesn't matter. What matters is it's still a great stretch, and it's a good start to the season.
Yeah, especially for a unit that I think, 2019, I don't think it's crazy to say that a lot of the success the Bills had in 2019 and getting to the playoffs was due to the defense. I'm not going to say carried, but the defense was a significant contributor to the success of the 2019 team. And I think a lot of people expected that to translate and carry forward into 2020. We didn't really see that from the defense for a multitude of reasons, injuries being a major part of, those reasons. But the offense took a giant leap forward. And so coming into 2021, it was like, oh man, if we could somehow merge the 2020 Bills offense with the 2019 Bills defense, what a team we'd have. And we saw the defense shine a little bit in week 1, obviously with the shutout in week 2, but the offense was still a little bit inefficient. We've seen the offense start to pick things up over the last several weeks. The defense has continued to be strong. And again, to your point, I think it's spot on, grading on a curve or taking a look at what your opponents are, what your competition is 1,000% valid. But at the end of the day, you still need to execute, regardless if you're playing a top-notch team or a bottom-notch team. And, it's just like when Alabama and teams like that, warm up against kind of a weaker level team, they still beat them 70-0. And that's what you expect to see from a great team. And the hope is it'll translate to the better teams. And it's just still nice to see them clicking on all cylinders for the most part at this point. And, the hope and the belief is that they've done enough things to be able to continue that. And I think we've seen that's the bigger takeaway is the positives that we've seen. Granted, it's against the Texans. Granted, it's against Miami, so on and so forth. But the Bills are doing sustainable things that should be able to translate going forward against better competition. That's the big takeaway, and it's really encouraging to see.
No, definitely, man. Cliff, we appreciate it, brother. Yeah, obviously, you've been here for many years.
I was going to say he knows.
He's an OG. He knows. So he says premium is a must. We appreciate that. Cover One gives you the best content, and they truly interact and become your friends. No one else does that with their quality of content. We appreciate it, man. That means a lot. And your donations, your super chats, your stickers, they go a long way. I mean, for us to have, this access to Huddle where we can break down film, access to, meeting great people like Mike Hunter, who produced all of this footage that you guys were just watching here. He works for the NFL. He's a UB student. I put his handle up there, his Twitter handle up there. Make sure to follow him. He does some great work with his footage here on the field. I mean, he was kind enough to send this footage to us from the game last week. And every home game, we'll have these clips for you in our Slack channel and on the show when we are able to download them in that case. So all the things that you guys do as subscribers, it helps us, do little things like this and obviously bring you the best content that we can. But let's switch to the defensive side and specifically Ed Oliver, man. I want to talk about Ed Oliver. His season stats, really not all that good. They're not eye-popping. 4 pressures, 11 total tackles. Kind of a slow start as a pass rusher so far, but his money move is a power move. It's the bull rush. It's his ability to use his explosiveness and convert speed to power. His hand usage has not been there, but he's been really good against the run. Great job of stacking and occupying 2 blockers on those combination and double teams. And right now, man, per PFF, he's number 2 in run defense, in run stop percentage behind Vita Vea, man. Talk about Ed Oliver and his importance at taking on those doubles for the linebackers, but also that kind of role swap that we've seen from Starr and Ed Oliver. Starr's returning, but he's not really playing the role of occupier. He's actually been a better pass rusher than a run stopper.
Yeah, it's super intriguing. I put a tweet out about that last night in terms of how the roles have kind of, flipped a little bit. And I think coming into this year, everybody and their mother was saying like, well, Starr comes back, he can occupy those double teams. Ed Oliver gets the one-on-one, opportunities, or even to the linebackers, Starr comes back, he eats up the blockers. Tremaine and Milano can operate free behind him, so on and so forth. That was just the assumption. And what we've seen is a bit of a carryover from 2020 when there was no Starr Lotulelei, which was offensive lines the Bills were facing. They were throwing a lot of double teams at Ed Oliver. He was one of the highest double teamed defensive linemen, defensive tackles in the league. But again, you would think coming into this year, okay, Starr will assume that role. And it hasn't been that. Teams respect Ed Oliver's ability And exactly to Cliff's point, saying that he thought Ed had a nice game on Sunday. He did have a nice game on Sunday. And what was cool is when he's been getting those one-on-one opportunities, he's been taking advantage of them, but he really hasn't gotten a lot, which has allowed Starr to get more one-on-one opportunities. And Starr has been winning as a pass rusher and in the run game, which if we can get that type of production from Starr, it's just a huge feather in the cap for this Bills defense. And I think it's super appropriate that we start with an Ed Oliver clip here because I think he was the best performer for this Bills defense on Sunday against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I loved, I don't know if you guys caught it, but the presser with Leslie Frazier today talking about Starr. He was gushing over Starr and the game he had on Sunday. But you'll see him and Ed Oliver, how important they are on this play here. So on the snap, as the run blocking concept, the run blocking takes place right here, what Starr is doing is he's shooting the back door right here and executing a gap exchange with Milano. And watch what that does. How Milano shoots that forces this guy to kind of cut it back up inside here. And then you see the rip by Ed Oliver right here on the backside, and he's making a tackle in the backfield. So defensive tackles, Starr Lotulelei, Ed Oliver, are really important to our linebackers in this defense, and you see it on this first play.
Yeah, being able to have chaos creation and penetration up front from your defensive tackles allows the linebackers to operate freer. And you see Oliver, you mentioned earlier the explosion we've seen from Oliver and his ability to convert speed to power. This one is more just speed and get off.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that gap is there for him to cut between the tackle and the guard, he shoots it and just blows this play up. He cuts right off the hip of the guard. He's already beaten the tackle inside, and he takes a quality angle to the ball carrier and just puts a nice, powerful hit on him. This is the type of play that I think a lot of fans hope for when the Bills drafted Ed Oliver. And again, it's another highlight of when he's not getting double teamed, he's making plays pretty regularly, which is why you're seeing teams double team him because they're like, well, if we leave him one-on-one, he's going to beat us.
Yeah, definitely, man. And, that was more of a zone run, but here's a gap run. And so what's going to happen on this play? This is crazy. So the right guard is going to pull this way. And so they're asking a wide 3 technique. They're asking this center to down block on a wide 3 technique against Ed Oliver, obviously with his explosiveness. Yeah, that's not happening. I mean, he shoots that gap and blows this play up. It's a great read. And I know you can't really see Ed Oliver's eyes on this, but his eyes he's reading the feet. Mm-hmm. And that's how defensive linemen, that's how defensive tackles are taught to read run blocking concepts. That's why you saw Starr Lotulelei shoot that backside gap and use that gap exchange to help Milano and those linebackers be free. Well, he's reading that. And as soon as he sees that footwork on a pull, all he has to do is almost similar to the last play, chase that hip. And then, I mean, the tight end right here, he's not even trying to pick Ed Oliver up. He's leading to the left side of the screen here. Just an explosive get off by Ed Oliver and just blows up Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, blows up Lindsay, beats the down block and pin attempt from the center. And I also love too, as Oliver shoots the gap so fast and makes the play on the running back, and watch the center and the tackle literally like bump into each other because Oliver shoots so fast. They kind of do like a grasping at air. It almost reminded me of that famous Mike Vick run against the Vikings in overtime when he splits Greg Biekert and the corner and they just collide with each other as Vick keeps it pushing. Oliver does this right off the jump and off the get. And, you highlighted it perfect. You get that down block from the center. He's trying to execute that down block on Ed Oliver's. They run the pulls. And this play just has no chance to get started. Ed Oliver destroys this play and almost gets to the ball carrier at the same time Davis Mills and the ball get to Philip Lindsay. Like, just that get off is just nuts. And you can't defend that as an offense. If you've got a defensive tackle who is operating that quickly in his mental processing and in his physical, movement, you can't defeat that. We see, I don't want to make this comment because people take it out of context, but we see Aaron Donald do that all the time. We see defensive tackles who win inside operate with that type of quickness, both mentally and physically. And that was an example of Ed Oliver doing it. And it's something that he's done a lot this year.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick look at Tremaine Edmonds, a few plays from him. And then we'll show you how the two complement each other. We saw it on that first play, but you're going to see Tremaine Edmonds on this play just show off that athleticism. I thought in this game, First of all, he ended with 6 total tackles, 4 stops. I thought he was just playing it really fast. When I posted that clip of his interception, he just seemed like he was on another level when we're talking about play speed. He was decisive. Even when he made a mistake, it was fast. He was done fast. He didn't worry about the repercussions. He just played really fast. He read the quarterback really well on that interception. What are your thoughts on his game and season thus far? And, we're going to show some of the good plays from him. There weren't really that many bad ones, so we don't really have any to show you. But what are some things that, Tremaine Edmonds, trait-wise, like if there's one thing that you wish he would improve on that would take his game to the next level, like what would that be? So kind of expand upon those thoughts.
My number one thing for him coming into this year and as we've progressed through the year has been the angles that he takes to the football. And you mentioned how big he is, how fast he is, his explosiveness. What was awesome about this game, which I think was hands down his best game of the year, he was playing fast and he was playing explosive, but he wasn't overrunning the play. He wasn't under, and taking bad angles and getting beat in different ways. He was taking almost perfect angles to the ball. And when you combine that with his speed and athleticism, it's a tough thing to deal with. He's got this large wingspan. He's got the speed. He can go sideline to sideline. But what we've seen him do in previous years, in previous games, is he goes sideline to sideline, but he takes that wrong angle and the running back or the receiver gets the step on him and beats him up over the top, or he oversells it too much and he gets cut back on very easily. You and I talked about this last week. He is so big and he's lanky. He doesn't have the best change of direction, not because he's not athletic. It's just because it's hard to have that change of direction.
He's high cut, right? He's a high cut guy. He's a tall guy.
1,000%. And when you're a high cut guy, you're not going to have that short area, shiftiness and start 3-cone ability like you would if you're Isaiah McKenzie and someone who's built smaller like that. And this first play from Tremaine, I love it, for a variety of reasons. And my biggest reason for loving it is because of the angle that he takes to the football. Yep. And his understanding of the help and support that he has from Micah Hyde and from Milano and Trey on the outside. So he takes a shallower, flatter angle to Phillip Lindsay because he knows I have support on the outside. I need to take this angle and watch for the cutback. And Lindsay does start to cut back a little bit, and Tremaine is right there. He's strong at the point of contact, something we saw multiple times in this game, just absolutely lays the wood to Phillip Lindsay, and it's something we haven't seen him do a lot. The start of the play is great because he doesn't let the offensive guard get across his face and be able to stop him from pursuing this play, something that I want to tie in later when we show a Mitch Morse clip. But this guard is trying to get to the second level and trying to wall off and get in front of Tremaine and cross his face. And Tremaine just doesn't let it happen. He sees the snap, starts flowing to the ball, doesn't let the lineman get across his face, and which we've seen him do before, but this time he put it all together in one play, took a strong quality angle to the ball, and just lowered the boom on Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah, and the Texans, I know that the Milanos and Trey Whites are, being in the blocks on this, but they do have a hat on a hat there, and that's why the angle and leverage taking inside out leverage here by Tremaine Edmonds here is really, really good. And he waits for that cutback because he knows he has that contained by those other guys. When that cutback comes, he lays the wood. Really nice rep from him on that play. We're going to take a look at another play here where they're trying to run a screen to him to the top of the screen here. And then you just see him break again, take a good angle, doesn't get caught in traffic. And dude, he was just playing on another level of speed that we really haven't seen. I hope that he continues to play like that going forward.
If he can operate at, there's a difference, right, between physical, like running ability, speed, and then play speed. And it doesn't matter if you run like a 4.2 or a 4.1, if you don't operate with good play speed and you can't process and read and react, you're slower than everybody else and your fast running does nothing. And we let off with the first one on the run. This screen is nice because you can see Tremaine diagnose this play in real time. He sees the screen coming. He understands, again, the support and the help that he has from his defenders. So he gets over the top a little bit, recognizes, okay, this is the only spot the receiver can go. And what I also like about this is he doesn't overshoot it too much. He doesn't immediately book it towards the sideline and open himself up for the cutback inside for the receiver to get yards. He slow plays it a little bit, waits for the screen receiver to make his move, and then accelerates over the top, gets hands on him, and just brings him down immediately. Again, taking a quality angle to the ball like he did in the first clip. And to, talk to your point earlier of complementary football, working with the rest of his defenders and knowing like, here are my guys. I know what their assignment is. I see where they are. That means I need to play it in this way in order to do my job. He doesn't try to do too much. He doesn't sell out too hard. And as a result, he makes the play immediately and holds us to a short game.
Yeah, and this play is 100% trying to test Tremaine Edmonds' angles. Watch how these guys fold. These two blockers right here, watch how they fold over to block the corners here. They want Tremaine Edmonds to shoot right here. That's what they want. They expected him to shoot that angle. But he, as you said, he plays over the top, gets into the alley, and makes a tackle on Cooks. Just a really nice play from him on that play right there against the screen. And then I want to talk about his interception. What were your thoughts on his interception, man?
Well, I want to get to, I'm glad you pointed me for that, for the thoughts on interception. Real quick, I wanted to pull up, we got a $30 super chat from Elijah G. So one, that's going to get you some Cover One premium access, Elijah. So that's awesome. And then two, I love the comment. I love the positivity, around Tremaine Edmonds saying that Maine played like a savage. I also am going to start using Maine because typing Tremaine is just too much and handwriting it all the time is way too much. So awesome comment. It's way too hard. And I would dare say Tremaine Edmonds played tremendous this past week against Houston. Yep, I've been waiting to bust that gem out. I've been waiting to dust that off. So awesome. Thank you for the donation, Elijah. Welcome to Cover One Premium, and also comment and giving that support there for Tremaine Edmonds. But this interception that we see from Tremaine Edmonds, you and I were DMing about it earlier today. The sticks concept over the middle, I thought Miller ran a bit of a lazy route, and Tremaine Edmonds basically runs this route for Anthony Miller in the slot. They are in that, A-gap pressure look for Tremaine Edmonds there. He knows what the coverage is. He knows what his responsibility is. What I love about this play is he's going to drop into that middle. He knows he's got the slot receiver. He immediately on the snap of this ball, he doesn't just bail out of the blitz and drop to his zone. He turns his head immediately, finds the receiver, locates him, and then runs the route for the receiver. Whether it was tremendous play action or he knew what play was coming, it's just a great play from Tremaine, beating the receiver to the spot and then being able to make a play on the ball. Something that, man, how many times have we seen from people be like, yeah, good play by Tremaine, but he didn't pick it, did he? No, it's just a breakup.
Yeah.
That gets his hands on the ball in a rainy, wet, windy type of day, runs the route for the receiver. Tremendous coverage. He knows he has help inside from Mario Addison, so he knows what angle he can take in his drop and angle to Anthony Miller on the slot, and then makes a play on the ball. And this was a big moment in the game, early in the game when it was still 0-0 on a 3rd and 10 and potential momentum changing for Houston.
Yeah, this is an interesting play. First of all, the look, you got Tremaine Edmonds over the center. It's like a sugar rush is what they're saying. They're covering up the center there. And they have three guys. They're sugaring there. And you got 3 guys off the left, and then you got 3 off to the right. Okay, so you got, Mills like, hey, okay, where's this pressure coming from? He's got 5 men up front, and he's got 2 backs in the backfield. So 3 guys are only going into a route, and I was told that this is a simulated roll pressure from Jordan Poyer. And basically what happened here is, watch the quick snap from the center. He quick snaps the Bills, tries catching them off guard. And so that's why the pressure was late from Micah Hyde and the nickel right here. They came late, and it almost hurt them. But as you said, man, the range by Tremaine Edmonds. So what he's doing, because he's got the 2 receiver side, and what he's doing is he's walling off this guy. He's not letting him run any type of crossing route. So if this guy, number 3, Miller, would have ran a shallow drag, he would have prevented him from doing that. He would have disrupted him and not let him make, that easy release across the middle. So he's releasing him right here. He's walling him off, and then he releases him. But the athleticism, again, just the speed and athleticism right here, for him not to just Stop his feet right there. He pivots right to the middle, reads the eyes of Mills perfectly, and just lets his instincts play. And it's a hell of a play. I'd say one of the more instinctive plays that we've seen from Tremaine Edmonds. And it really kind of speaks to his athleticism, of course, but this is a pressure that the Bills don't really bring a lot of. They don't normally bring this many guys when they blitz. Maybe, 5-man pressures, but they don't normally bring, 6 guys in pressures like that or more. So the fact that they only have 2 guys underneath, and one of them's a defensive end in Mario Addison, who almost made a play and broke this up.
Yeah, good coverage from Mario. Good drop from him.
Yeah, and there's no one, and it's a great point because there's no one in his area, right? So he's only got one receiver. That guy's already cleared already, so he's not worried about him. So he is also just reading Mills, and Mills's eyes take him to the ball. So good work by those underneath defenders. And it's a coverage that stresses those underneath defenders. And this is what they want from Tremaine Edmonds, those splash plays. When they send that pressure, they want those splash plays. And Tremaine actually made it on this one. And we need to see more of that. That's all. He's a good player. You can't deny that he's not a good player.
Yeah.
But they just need some more of those splash plays, some more TFLs, some more of those plays that, as you said, he's making from sideline to sideline. Just more plays to complement his good game, because he is a good player. And the last play I want to take a look at is Ed Oliver and Tremaine working together. They're complementing each other on this play, just like you saw, the pass rush, the blitz on that last play, complement the coverage. Davis Mills had to get rid of it. Tremaine picks it. Here they work together. And again, what happens here as Ed Oliver is taking on this combo. So these guys have to work together, but you can see that guard has Tremaine Edmonds. So if Tremaine Edmonds stays at that depth and doesn't fire downhill, well, guess what? These 2 guys are probably getting movement, vertical displacement up the field, right? But because Tremaine triggers downhill, fills his gap, gets his hands ready, meets that guard with his hands, and now he's already leveraging his gap. You can see, look at this gap integrity, man. It's really nice. That allows Oliver to split that double. As that double dissipates, he comes and makes the tackle.
Yeah, it's a really strong example of everybody doing their 111th and a good piece of complementary football, and I don't even have too much to add on it because you nailed it. It's just nice to see Tremaine come downhill so fast, read and react. It's a really strong team play. Tremaine comes downhill, reads and react. We have the gap integrity from the left side of the defensive line. We've got Tremaine in that A gap right there, clogging that up. We've got Ed Oliver. Now that he realizes, oh, cool, I only have 1 guy on me. Let me keep crashing down and close down this angle. And then we've got Gregory Rousseau on the backside, also crashing down on Phillip Lindsay after he keeps an eye on Davis Mills to make sure Mills actually hands off the football. It's just across the board, and we're highlighting here Tremaine and Ed Oliver for the play they have in tandem together. And because they're, in closest proximity to the ball, and they really make this play, but it's just good team defense across the ball and, across the board. And what Tremaine and Ed do on this play, working together and showcasing that complementary football, is what this defense is when they're at their best, everybody doing their job. And it's nice to finally see Tremaine, being a focal point of the spear in that way, and not, we've seen him kind of clean up things. It's nice on this one to see him be the spark that allowed someone else to be successful. That's another jump in his game and another piece that'll help this defense.
100%, man. So again, complementing each other. You saw how, coverage complements a pass rush. You saw how Tremaine Edmonds and Ed Oliver complement each other. Even Star Lotulelei, man. Talk about Star, man. He's actually in PFF's pass rush productivity stat. He's actually, I think he's top 10 still as a pass rusher. Like, I did not expect that from Star.
Unreal. How many, what kind of conversations were being had in the offseason with, like, oh, is he even going to show up? If he does, what kind of shape is he going to be in? Like, I'm worried, this and that. And again, like you mentioned, the talk was, well, we just want him to eat up space, eat up blockers, eat up double teams, and let everybody else be successful. And instead, he's been getting one-on-one opportunities in both the run and in the pass rush, and he's winning, like, significantly, whether it's pressures, whether it's all-out sacks. He had a couple snaps against Houston. One, the sack that he got on the little game and the stunt that they played on the outside.
Yeah, he ricocheted off that block. Yeah, that was nice.
Yep, real good read and popped inside. And then the other, he just bull rushed the guard and was going to swim move him. And instead the guard just bear hugged him and held that crap out of him. And then Star drew the flag. He's been significantly disruptive. And again, it's another level that I don't think people expected. People just thought, cool, run stuffer, one tech, clog the middle. And instead, he's been getting one-on-one opportunities, and he's winning and penetrating in both the run and the pass. And, we could have potentially seen that run game penetration, but we did not expect the pass rush presence of Star Lotulelei this year. And it's just been so welcome and so great for this defense.
Yeah, look at these stats from PFF. So he is number one at defensive interior, at D tackle in pass rush productivity. 55 pass rush snaps, 10.6 pass rush productivity, a win percentage of 21.3, which is fourth? Like, this is not what we expected from Star Lotulelei. I mean, this is pretty amazing. And I was, going back and forth with Lorenzo yesterday about, how amazing the transformation of Star Lotulelei's game and how he's got more juice and tenacity. And he made a good point, man. The game's a little different now. It's a pass-oriented game. It's not that I'm going to lean on you 35, 40 times a game in the run game. So that year off, it seemed to do him well. It seemed to do his legs well because he's got some jump.
Yeah, it's so far, again, knock on wood, don't want to jinx anything. It looks like the year off, the COVID opt-out did as well as it could have. Like, I think the biggest hope and the most optimism that fans had for Star was, well, you know what? Now he gets a year to just completely rest and recover mentally and physically, and hopefully he comes back rejuvenated, and he looks rejuvenated. I mean, we saw it, the videos, what was it, like a couple weeks before training camp started, and how slimmed down he was and how good his footwork looked and how fast and explosive he looked in drills, and that has continued throughout training camp and throughout the start of this regular season. And his impact, again, if we're getting pass rush productivity from Star Lotulelei, this defense is going to be a problem because we don't necessarily need him to give that. But if he is, it's another weapon in the arsenal, and it's something that offenses have to contend with.
Yeah, and to talk about weapons, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. It's a good segue there from you with Star Lotulelei, man. Very impressive so far. First quarter of the season over. A great job by him. They needed him, especially as Ed Oliver starts slow. So let's look at the offensive touchdown by Dawson Knox on this play. And I want everyone to look at the coverage. When you're watching film, I want you guys to look at the coverage of the DBs. Tell me what you see, their posture, where their eyes are. Are they playing off coverage, press man, off zone? Like, what do you guys see? Do you see single high? Do you see two high safety looks? Like, what does it look like the Texans are presenting on this 3rd and 3 situation? What do you think it looks like to you, Ant?
To me, it looks like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, a little cover one, a little man coverage, single high safety. And, what's indicating that to me is the coverage alignment of the defenders, both Justin Reed in the slot on Dawson Knox, the outside corners and the nickel corner. They're all head up. They're square to the receivers and tight end. They are lined up almost in a press scenario. Like my expectation from, as soon as this snap would go would be, as soon as the ball is snapped, they'll turn their bodies to the quarterback and they're going to have man eyes and just zone up or man up on their receivers. And then you see, as you went right there to the safety, you see that cover one safety, that single high safety in the center of the field. His job is to kind of keep an eye on everything over the top and in the middle and give that support while he's got that man coverage underneath from everybody. Again, that's what it looks like, but the Texans do a really good job of making it look like that and then just flipping it to something completely different once the ball is snapped.
Yeah, and this is what I love about this play. So 3rd and short, Josh thinks he has man coverage, so he's like, all right, I got one-on-one outside with Diggs against their corner. And, Justin Reed isn't going to be an issue in this play as Diggs runs that in-breaking route. This safety right there, Justin Reed, he's not going to be an issue because he's getting cleared out. If it's man coverage, he's running that deep over with Dawson Knox. So, Josh is thinking, I got that in route. Well, post-snap, as you alluded to, they drop out into cover 3. So they drop out into a single high coverage, but it's cover 3. As you can see, you got your 3 deep defenders right here. And then you got your underneath defenders. Here are your flats players. Justin Reed is probably going to be the flats player, and your hook the curl players right here. So now it's a single high zone coverage. They dropped out in the zone, And so as Josh goes to throw this here, this linebacker, the underneath hook the curl defender, is being nosy, and he jumps in the passing lane. And not only that, you have this corner breaking on that. And then although Justin Reed's hips are turned right there, you see him flip pretty easily right back into place. So now, Josh has to reload. He does a great job of doing that as that guy jumps in the air. But now all of these guys right here are all committed to Diggs, and they're not the only ones, Anthony. The opposite hook the curl defender jumps that route to Diggs, and the safety, Lonnie Johnson, jumps the route to Diggs. So Josh has to process post-snap. Okay, man to zone, cover 3. My cover 3 beater is this deep over right here as Beasley runs the out, and then you have a clearing route from Emmanuel Sanders. That's the cover 3 beater. This is a Kansas City Chiefs special. This is something that they run a ton of with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. So Knox is wide open, and he's able to get in there for the touchdown. Just awesome post-snap processing from Josh Allen, man.
It's beautiful. And, kudos to the Texans for their initial alignment on this play, especially going into this game. The Texans led the NFL in man coverage pass snaps. They were 61% of the time they were in man coverage. So you know that. You see this alignment. Yeah. And if I'm Josh Allen, I'm thinking, all right, boom. Exactly like you said, I've got man coverage. Here's my read. The Texans do a great job of timing this out and dropping into their cover 3 zone at the snap. And Josh's pump, pause it right there. Everybody just goes with the pump. Everybody goes to that side just off of that one Josh Allen pump, and literally all 4. So you've got Justin Reed, you've got Lonnie Johnson, you've got the linebacker underneath. As you mentioned, you've got the opposite side hook to curl linebacker, all flowing to that side, reading Josh's eyes and his arm. And as soon as he executes that pump, he knows, boom, I got Dawson over the middle. I got the zone beater on that side. Excellent analysis from you to start it with how everything was cleared off on that side of the field by Bees and Manny. And really great finish, too, we should mention, by Dawson Knox, being able to break the tackle and then getting to the goal line, turning into that Jugger Knox type of mode. But it was really just, a good job by the Texans. I think that's what really is important here. This is a good job pre-snap by the Texans. And instead of, getting baited by it, Josh takes advantage of it, course corrects, reads the coverage, pump fakes, all in a split second mentally. Then he executes it physically with a good throw to Dawson Knox, who does a good job with his route and finding the space. And that's hard to beat. Like, what do you do? What do you do when pre-snap you have a really great game plan and you execute it almost to a T? You would think well, we got a great chance of success here. And instead, Josh Allen just flips it in the blink of an eye and they get beat for a touchy.
Yeah, it was an awesome play. I swear, whether Josh is purposely pumping on a play, like pump faking or shoulder faking, or more times than not, Nate and I always talk about this, more times than not, Josh is starting his delivery like he was there. He wanted to throw that, but he pulled it back and reloaded. That right there gets guys to move just as good, if not better, than an actual pump or shoulder fake. It's just ridiculous how he can, start that delivery. And throwing that in that tight window against what he thought was going to be man coverage, that was going to be a missile. He was going to throw it in there with some velocity. For him to be able to pull that back and not blow out his shoulder is just beyond me. It's just crazy.
1,000%. And it's nice too, to add on real quick there, Jason had a good comment in the chat that he did that also with like a wet ball, so not ideal conditions. And also that's something, I know people make the comparison to Ben Roethlisberger. We've seen Ben Roethlisberger make that pump a million times, whereas it's not so much as a pump as it is mid-throw. He's like, I don't want to throw this anymore. And he retracts, reloads, and then fires it somewhere else. Not a lot of guys can do that. And it's a tremendous trait to have and super, super helpful like it was on this play.
Yeah, it's talking about crazy and just Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. There aren't many guys with his athleticism at the quarterback position. And so you see the deep over on this call. It looks like a little half roll. You have Sanders running the over, and you have Diggs clearing out with a post here. And Josh is probably going to hit Sanders, who's to the top of the screen. It's a little half roll, but Josh gets pressure in his face by two guys, decides to reverse field, and you'll see it better from the end zone angle, and then just throws a frozen rope down the field to Stephon Diggs, all the way across the field, along the boundary to the top of the screen. Just, I mean, it's speechless. It's just ridiculous play from Josh Allen. And watch it from this end zone angle because it's even more bonkers here. So what they're doing, the Texans, is they're sending a blitz here. So these guys are spiking inside. And as you know, everyone is zone blocking this way, or you know, it's pass pro, but this is play action pass protection. They're all sliding this way. Those guys shoot the backside gaps, and they're in there. And you heard Mitch Morse talk about Josh getting the offensive line out of sticky situations a lot. Well, this was one of those. 2 guys on him, but look how he turns. He doesn't normally, his rookie year, he would turn his back to those guys before running back this way. Watch the pivot here. Just ridiculous stuff. That type of pivot in real time. And then, oh yeah, ho-hum, throw down the field to Diggs, and a little toe tap right there at the end by Diggs. Just an amazing play from Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs.
This play is absolutely dumb from Josh Allen. The read, the athleticism, again, much like the first play that we broke down here. Oh, awesome. I was going to bring that up at the end.
I'll show it from this angle because it's
beautiful.
This is what he's talking about. So here's, and I had it highlighted when I did his breakdown. So this is Spencer Brown on the play action protection. Watch how he rides this guy all the way almost to the bench. That's what John's talking about there. Good eye, man. He takes him right out of place. So sorry to interrupt you there, and I'll take it back to the end zone angle, and you can start over again. But yeah, John, good eye, man. You know, this he's been here for years. He's an OG, and he's in the film room with us every year. That's the type of eye that a film junkie gets. So good eye, man.
Yeah, John knows what to watch for, and he's got really good takes. So, you know, I was literally going to bring that up at the end. So, one, thank you, John, for the super chat. You're awesome as always. Great take, awesome finish, and play there by Spencer Brown. Part of the reason why Sean McDermott is considering continuing to go with that offensive line alignment from this past week. Part of that is that play of Spencer Brown. But the play here from Allen, again, like all ridiculous, stupid, unreal. He should be dead to rights here. He should be in the grass. He turns. He barely has any time to react. And you mentioned it right there. I love, instead of rounding out his escape, he plants, he pivots, he pops back out, and the defenders are all of a sudden screwed because of the angle that they took to try and cut off Josh Allen. He stops on a dime. He pops back out, and he goes from dead to rights to all of a sudden having all this green grass in front of him. And then it's like, okay, cool, you know, escape, maybe run for a couple yards. Look at this throw from numbers to sideline. Granted, you know, his man already has space up top, but look at the platform alignment he throws from and just whips this thing downfield with velocity, with accuracy, on a rope. And then, yeah, you nailed the toe tap there and the touch. Like, Allen puts it in a place where only his receiver is going to get it, but it's not a place that's like a super tough catch or he threw it damn near out of bounds. He puts it in a good spot by the sideline, and his man adjusts to it, catches it, toe taps, brings it down. Quality executed play on the back end, and all of it just comes from, you know, this is a play where the Texans won. Right off the snap. Like, this was a good play call, good timing, good play design, all from the defense. They won this rep. The only reason they didn't win this play was because Josh Allen flipped it in the blink of an eye. And with his athleticism and talent, like, this is just talent winning out. This isn't scheme. This isn't like coaching and design and what a great play call. Josh Allen was dead to rights, and instead he flipped the entire play on its head. And just... that was stupid. Like, what do you even do at that point? Like, you're just so upset if you're the defense.
Yeah, that was bonkers. And we got a couple more plays from Josh Allen here. So this play has changed over the years. So typically the Bills run this dagger concept, and it's a deep in route by this number 1 receiver out here, Emmanuel Sanders. And normally he's going to carry the dig route across the field here. But the Bills, if you guys remember the throw by Gabriel Davis, the reception by Gabriel Davis last year in the Niners game where he floated it over the top of Fred Warner. That is the same exact play as this one. But Josh had struggles overall with the pace on his throws on a majority of those dagger concept throws. So what they did this year is they changed it up. So great anticipation on this play, but watch the break from Manny Sanders. He just slows down in the window. He doesn't continue across here where this guy could break on it or whatever and really light him up. And it really would make it a tougher throw from Josh because he has to drive it in this weather, down the field, 25, 30 yards. So he kind of lets up and Josh anticipates this. But look when Josh releases this ball. He slides just a little bit. He's releasing it. Look at where Manny Sanders is right now. He's not even in his break yet. Great anticipation from Josh Allen. He drops it in there. When I saw it on the broadcast, I thought Josh underthrew it. I thought it was an inaccurate pass, but to me, this looks like he threw it perfectly to almost save Sanders from a hit, but it was just great anticipation from top to bottom.
This is something that, gets talked about a lot with veteran QBs. It was actually talked about in the Buccaneers-Rams game when Brady threw that ball to Gronk that got him popped and led to the broken ribs and the punctured lung. They talked about quarterbacks putting the ball in positions that save their receivers, whether they throw it a little bit behind them to direct them away from the oncoming hit or they throw it a little lower so they don't get popped. I think Josh 1,000% did this. He threw this into a spot where he knew he could get a completion, but also at the same time protect Manny Sanders from getting popped. But it's really just that anticipation. Look at, you highlighted it there. This gets me super excited. The appreciation that Manny Sanders is always showing for Josh Allen is never ending, and it's genuine and it's awesome. He knows on this play what Josh just did. He knows that when he got out of his route, the ball was already about to be on him. He knows Josh threw with that anticipation. He knows Josh protected him with that throw. And again, I don't want to get too hype on it, but I am. Screw it. Manny Sanders is a Super Bowl winning receiver who has played with 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. He knows what good offense is. He knows what good quarterback play is. And you have him consistently being impressed. Look at the hole. As you're highlighting there on the arrows, Josh sees what the safety is doing over the top. Yep. Look at the ball. So not only does he throw it with the anticipation and protect Manny Sanders, look how he dumps it over the middle in coverage. He dumps it over that second layer coverage with anticipation. So all in one split second, right? He's throwing with anticipation, which, some people, actually a lot of people said he would never be able to do. He's throwing with anticipation. As you're highlighting the defensive lineman there, he's getting it over the outstretched hands of the defensive lineman. He's getting it over both second level defenders in the linebackers there. And he's dropping it inside of the corner that's guarding Manny, but he's also dropping it low enough and shallow enough that the safety over the top can't make a play on it or pop Manny. He's doing all of that with one throw in the blink of an eye. That is an ability that not a lot of guys have. Look at Beasley. Recognize. I love that you're pointing out all the recognition. Look at him point at everybody's just yo,
real, recognize real.
Yeah, that's exactly a real, recognize real. They feel it, they know it, and man, that's just. And I see Roman's comment there saying Anthony sounds like he needs a towel. Yeah, man, I'm super excited over here. I'm pumped. This throw was nuts. You don't see. This is a type of. How much was talked about with Josh Allen when he was drafted? Well, he's big. He's got a strong arm. Maybe he could do these types of plays. Are examples of mechanical improvement and mental awareness. And those are things that are top notch and hard to come by. He's showing that type of progression to go with those physical tools, and his veteran teammates who know the game are appreciating it and recognizing him for it. That can't be understated. That cannot be understated.
No, definitely not, man. And all that regression talk is kind of in the back row now. It's out of here, man. He's still playing at an elite level, and now you add Manny Sanders into the mix. This offense, it can be even better than last year. But watch him throw Sanders open on this play. So it's very similar to that deep over from Knox, but it's Gabriel Davis running back. I mean, look at him stand in the pocket as Spencer Brown gives up the inside lane here, but look at him stand in the pocket, then climb up, hitch up right there, and then off platform, you see Sanders break into the middle of the field right there, but Josh knows, hey, guess what? I can throw him open if I throw it over here as he pivots to the boundary. And that's exactly what he does. off platform from the negative 38, 39 yard line to the 39 yard line, 38 yard line of the Texans. Like, that's just bonkers. That's just amazing. Like, that is, Spencer Brown had a good game overall, but he gets taken to the woodshed on this play by a power move by Omenahu, which it's going to happen. He doesn't have the play strength coming from the small school that he came from in Northern Iowa. I mean, but this is really, really nice work in the pocket from Josh Allen. And again, keep in mind, the weather was horrendous in this game.
Yes. Like, this isn't an easy throw. This isn't an easy play. And again, to go to your complementary football piece, right? Not everybody's always going to execute at 100%. Not everybody's going to do their job. So what do you do to pick your teammates up and play some complementary football? Josh picks up Spencer Brown on this play. Spencer Brown starts to get beat. I love how Josh steps up in the pocket, and not only does he step up in the pocket, he also protects the ball. And as he steps up and protects the ball, as you just made those X's on the screen, he sees what the coverage is. He sees he doesn't have anybody open. He sees there's nothing to the left. There's nothing to the right. He knows what he has in Manny on the right. And again, the ball placement to throw somebody open. He did a little bit on the previous play, but it was more protection than throwing him open. This time, he sees the leverage that the corner has inside, and he sees Manny and is like, well, I mean, I don't know. I got about 10 yards from the numbers to the sideline. Why don't I throw the ball out there? And he puts it on a dime. This angle is beautiful for the step up in the pocket. When you watch him step up, watch how the defender goes to swat that ball. And in one smooth movement, Josh steps up and he brings the ball with him, protects it. Look at he's avoiding that hand swipe while he's also stepping up in the pocket. And look where his head is. Look where his eyes are. Boom, you nailed it. Look where his eyes are. Downfield to the man who he knows is the only one who has an opportunity to make a play on this play. It's athletic and it's poised, but it's smart awareness from Josh. And then the off-platform throw. Like, he basically makes a little jump throw. He makes a jump throw. Like, he doesn't even set his feet. He hops and just look at what he's doing. Everything that he's doing in that throw is not what you teach. You do not look at that and go, hey, throw the football like this. What you want to do when you throw is you want to jump and you want to have your feet parallel. Like, no one teaches that. He makes another off-platform throw, which he's done several times this year in bad weather with pressure in his face. He bails out his young, rookie, inexperienced right tackle, protects the ball, and makes another laser throw that also protects his receiver. It's another quality play by Josh, and another one that when we get to break it down like this, the improvement in his game is just really staggering, and man, I just can't wait till he's able to play in front of crowds.
No, definitely, man. Hey, J-Rob, we appreciate it there. He says, having breakfast here in Manila. Ooh. Eating up the best break. Hold on. We got a Filipino on the show. All right.
Look at this.
J-Rob. All right. My fellow Filipino. All right, brother. We appreciate it. Appreciate you joining in, doing some X's and O's, some film with us in Manila. That's awesome. It's 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. here Eastern in our time zone. So it's awesome that you're having your breakfast and watching some film with us. That's a good way to start the day. I'll tell you what, that's a good way to start the day.
That's great.
So let's start this last play. I know we, like I said, we're going to have a few Josh Allen plays each week, regardless of what happens, because he's that good. You're going to have plays like this pretty much every week. And, you talked about the improvements and some of the throws that he's improved on over the years. This is one of them. This is their wave concept. If you guys remember, like one of Josh Allen's first years, or maybe Duke Williams' first year here. So was that Josh Allen's second year or third year?
Yeah.
He threw a floater to Duke Williams on this very same route. And that's when he started to really turn it around in this department. So watch this throw. Look at the layered throw from Josh Allen with pressure in his face to Diggs. I mean, just a beautiful play, double post with an over route, clear out in man coverage, and he drops it in the bucket to Stephon Diggs. Again, with pressure in his face. Like, look at it from this end zone angle and how he's able to drop it in there with some nice touch, staring down the barrel of the gun right here. And look, 1, 2, 3 guys about to lay a lick on him. And he stands tall.
He gets crushed.
He does. He does. And the ball is still pulled. I mean, he put it on a string, man. He just pulls a string here to Diggs. Just awesome throw. But it had enough velocity where this safety that was playing deep, he can't really lay a lick until Diggs already secures a catch. So awesome work by Brian Dable and calling the wave concept their bread and butter versus man coverage. But this is all Josh Allen staring down. You can see, watch his helmet, Ant. Watch how he scans the field, right, left, right, and he's just checking back and forth of the leverage of the defenders and corners that are on these guys, and then just, again, pulls a string to Stephon Diggs.
The touch and the awareness and being able to do both of those things or have both of those things while huge 300-pound dudes are sprinting at you to kill you is unreal. Like, again, we talk about complementary football. Bodker gets beat on the inside here. Dawkins gets beat at left tackle. Josh is going to get crushed. He knows it. You mentioned the head and the eyes. He's scanning the field. When he sees Diggs break across the middle, he knows he's got him. But also right there, he can see Bodker's beat. I got a dude who's about to bear down on me, and I'm going to get rocked. But I just need to wait enough to let Beasley clear his man and make sure I can get this ball to Diggs. And again, you nailed it. The ball placement to Diggs to make sure it's on point with him and it's away from the corner and the trail, but also enough velocity that the safety over the top can't jump it, can't make a pick, and also that it gets to Diggs fast enough to the point that he's not going to get rocked too much. Because if that ball gets to Diggs too late, one, it could get picked, but two, he could get jacked up. And Lonnie Johnson was looking to rock dudes on Sunday for Houston. They were geeked up a little bit. They were intense. They were physical. And Lonnie wanted to lay him out. And Josh puts this ball accurately and with enough velocity that Diggs has time to catch it and still protect himself. So that way he doesn't take this hit. Again, it's just, this one's really nice. That pocket poise to be like, cool, I'm going to get hit. Let me just stand in here and make a quality throw. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't get shook. And the fact that he throws with that touch and that velocity at the same time when he's about to get crushed and he bails out his teammates, man, it's it's really nice. And also it's a nice tandem block up front from Mitch Morse and Darrell Williams on that right side. I know the left side gets blown up a little bit, but they recognize the stunt and the game inside as the defenders switch there and they communicate, they feel one another. Morse passes off his man to Darrell, who takes him, and then boom, leave it right there. And then Morse takes his guy. Morse and Darrell Williams very successful on this play. I thought Darrell Williams had everybody else not so good, but
they're playing up like Mitch Morse always talks about finishing their line of scrimmage. On this play, Darrell Williams and Mitch Morse did. Everyone else, not so much.
Yeah, not so great. I thought, Darrell Williams had a better game than I thought when I went back and watched the film. But when he was bad, he was very, very bad, like liability bad. But he had some quality reps, and this one was nice. It also helps that, he's playing with an elite center like Mitch Morse. And if anybody tries to tell you that Mitch Morse is not an elite center, please send them to Erik and I so we can let them know why he is and or fight them.
Yeah, and that's a great segue because I thought Mitch Morse, man, it's much like last year. He was catching a lot of flack the first quarter last year about his play, but I thought it was wrong. It was totally unwarranted when we talk about his play. He was playing at an elite level, and I do have film footage on YouTube if you guys want to go back and watch that. But this year, he's another guy that I thought he's looked more explosive. His pad level's been much better. He's showing a lot more physicality on his blocks. Like he's attacking his blocks. He's very aggressive. And of course, I mean, when you talk about Morrison and how he's one of the elite centers in the league, you start with his athleticism. You start with his mobility, his ability to get out in the space on pulls. And I think now, I mean, this is nothing new. The Bills are rotating and shuffling the guards again. I don't think this will be the last time that we'll see this happen. So having a pivot guy, and I always called Mitch Morse the sheriff up the middle. He's a great pivot guy up the middle because, when those guys make mistakes at guard and those guards, they're not the most athletic guys, you have an eraser in Mitch Morse to kind of help them out. So I think the Bills have to maximize him more on screens, of course, but also in some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today on those pulls. And so what are your thoughts on, Mitch Morse's play so far this year? And then talk about his athleticism and how he helps erase the mistakes of those guards, especially when you have guards like this year, Cody Ford, Darrell Williams, And I mean, like Bucker, he's been up and down. But I feel like COVID has kind of, brought his play. I thought he finished last year really well. I thought he was going to be a starter. I thought it'd be him and Feliciano on the right. But talk about Morse's play thus far and how they can maximize his play. He's getting paid like an elite center, so they need to use him more.
1,000%. It's funny you mentioned Botker. I was trying to pull up the stats and numbers for Botker last year. I think he finished something ridiculous in terms of grading down the stretch from like weeks 12 through 17. He was one of like the best guards at something. I know it's vague, but he did well down the stretch. And awesome comment there from Matthew. Remember when people said we were going to cut Morse in the offseason? The Mitch Morse hate has always bothered me. It bothered me last year. I know it bothered you. People don't appreciate how good Mitch Morse is. And you mentioned it. It stems from his athleticism and also from his mental aptitude. Like, he's a very smart, heady player up front. And then he's athletic and he's quick. And when you have an athletic and quick center, it allows you to cover up for some of the ineptitude that you have from your interior play at both guard spots, which unfortunately the Bills have had. And the Bills guard play, even with John Feliciano shedding a bunch of weight, which is awesome for him, the Bills are not tremendously athletic at guard. Even Darrell Williams, who, was at right tackle, he's not tremendously athletic, especially in this game. I thought he looked pretty stiff and not very athletic, even when he was successful. So having a center who is in closest proximity to them, being able to have that quickness and that mental aptitude, it allows him to cover up for deficiencies in your guard play. It allows him to be an eraser and point things out and notice things, and it allows him to cover up for some mistakes, whether it's just outright coming out. Boom, John with a great comment there. Morse is elite in pass protection. That's really where he shines, in pass protection and move blocking that requires him to that requires him to pull, get outside, showcase that athleticism. He's good in movement. He's a really good movement center, and he's able to showcase that quickness and intelligence in pass pro too, and cleaning up for some mistakes. And this is a nice one here. We see that fold block, and we see Darrell, pop down inside. Morse gets right around him and just, look at him clear that hole. Also, really good job from Zach Moss getting skinny and fitting through this hole. But Mitch Morse clears this lane. Like, the linebacker does a good job. He fills, Morse erases him and opens up a nice lane for Moss to get through.
Yeah, it was a good down block by Williams on the full block, and then that short pull from Morse. But then watch the finish by Brown on this play. Look at him. I'm a big believer in body blows matter, and this is the type of finish you want from Spencer Brown. He goes down there and just, kind of clears the top of the pile. Hey, get off my dude, and just lays out some guys. That's the kind of finish you want to see. And, these full blocks are important because the Bills are a zone team. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum about how the Bills wanted to run a lot of zone last year, but they didn't really have the personnel. This is a way for the Bills to kind of run a hybrid scheme when it comes to, gap versus zone. And the Bills were actually quite balanced in that department in this game. That was considered a gap, but it's a hybrid zone gap scheme because you have that puller, but it's just it's a tag. It's an offensive line tag where Morse says Williams, they say, hey, I don't have leverage on this zone run, so I'm going to down block and you pull. So on this play, this is a pure zone run, but watch him attack this block. Watch him attack the nose tackle on this play. And then the finish. Let me throw you right there. Get on by. This is what I'm talking about. He is attacking his zone blocks with a different type of enthusiasm and tenacity. And I messaged Eric Wood about this when I was going over some of my notes from this game about Mitch Morse. And I was like, dude, what's up with Mitch Morse? I know he's playing at an elite level as a pass blocker, but his explosiveness and physicality just seemed to be on a different level this year. And he's like, you know what? It's funny you said that because I mentioned that to Coach McDermott prior to the game on the broadcast, and he confirmed the same thing. He agrees. He says that he's seen a different level from Mitch Morse when it comes to the physicality. And that's something I'm sure that, when the coaches had their exit meetings with a guy like that, he's more of a finesse player. There's no denying that. But I'm sure that was something that was talked about, and you can see it on this play.
Yeah, he's known for being more athletic and being better in movement and things, but bringing the physicality is another added bonus you're going to get from him in this game. I think when we were DMing about film last night, you were like, Morse was a maniac in this game against Houston. Dude. And the physicality is beautiful here. The finish is beautiful here. This is also the play I referenced earlier in regards to the play that Tremaine Edmonds made on the sideline run, or on the play he made to the sideline against Phillip Lindsay. The guard wanted to get across Tremaine Edmonds' face and prevent him from making that play. Edmonds didn't allow that to happen. Morse here executes this beautifully. He gets a nice get off the snap. He reaches, he turns, he locks, drives his man. I also love that he does a good job. This is a point in the rep here, as you know, Singletary starts to pass him. This is the spot where he could get sloppy. He could get lazy with his hands. He could easily get called for holding. And defenders know when they're beat in this instance, they're going to try and make it look like they're getting held. He could have gotten flagged.
They're going to pull a Dawson Knox flop.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Exactly. Oh man, that was soccer worthy of, man, that was just straight flop. Yeah. And the defender can try and draw a hold here, draw a call. Morse doesn't allow it to happen. He starts to lay off a little bit, doesn't get that call there, and finishes this play start to finish, quality rep, showcasing what he can do when he's moving, showcasing that athleticism, showcasing that quickness. But again, it's that physicality and that tenacity. He's on back-to-back plays. We've shown him, at the point of attack, nasty, physical, mean, whether it was opening that hole and clearing space for Zach Moss, or here in short area contact, latching onto his man, making contact, getting into him, and just driving. That type of nastiness to go with the quickness and the headiness that he already operates with, it's another layer that we've seen added, and another reason why people need to appreciate him. For all the people who are like, to the comment earlier, cut him, get rid of him. We can put Feliciano at center. I could play center. He's done, blah, blah, blah. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and just a couple more things that, kind of jogged my memory when you started talking about the physicality. So 2 things. You'll see as the defensive lineman tries working back across the face with force, you see them kind of jostling, and you see the pad level of Morse kind of dip right there. You can see his shoulders dip right there. What's happening is as this guy's working with force that way, what Morse is trying to do so that guy can't work back over the top, he's trying to hook him. What he's trying to do is hook and run, is what offensive linemen are taught to do. If you're losing leverage after winning initially, he's trying to hook him in his armpit right there, and then just run with him and let the running back make the cut off of him. That's what he's trying to do there. So you see that jostling going on, and you nailed it. When you talk about physicality, normally, if this is not a physical rep by Mitch Morse, this guy's disengaging and making the tackle here. But because Mitch Morse got into that guy's kitchen and enveloped him, he's not able to. He's engaged that much, and then the finish on the back end by Spencer Brown almost takes out Moss here.
I love it. I was super mad at this when it happened, because I thought I have Moss in one of my fantasy leagues, and I thought he was already breaking free and was going to score. And I was just like, why would you do that? And then I realized,
that's hilarious.
He was going to get tackled. Yeah, I was mad at first. Then I was like, it's a great play. I apologize.
So here's another play by the Bills and Mitch Morse. And this is another fold block. So I want to break it down from the top here and kind of diagram it. So you guys can see what's happening here. So normally on a zone run, this is what the blocking is going to look like. You're going to have a couple of combinations right here between Morse and Bakker, and then you're going to have combinations between Brown and Williams. But because of where the linebacker is sitting right here in this gap and just how tight he is to the line of scrimmage, there's no way that they're going to be able to Butker's going to be able to hit this defensive tackle and then bounce off and go block him. So what they do, again, they go to that fold block, down block by Butker, and then watch Mitch Morse wipe out the linebacker here. Singletary with his patented quick feet avoids that trash, and then he's up the field. And then I'll talk about the backside blocks, because on these zone runs and these full blocks, the backside blocks right here, especially by Spencer Brown, the right tackle here, are critical. Look at him seal that off with Williams there. The backhand of Williams off the snap. See the punch right there? That's important. That knocks that guy over just a little bit and gives our guy Spencer Brown enough time to get to the play side number, get his helmet across, and then finally his hips. And then look at the lane for Motor Singletary. This is what the Bills want. This is the type of run game and effectiveness the Bills want, and the physicality and control of the line of scrimmage that Sean McDermott loves.
I love that you mentioned the physicality piece. I think it's easy to because you've got your zone schemes and your gap schemes, I think most people think zone is more finesse or softer. And the Bills are running a zone scheme that has physicality and nastiness to it. It starts with Morse just completely erasing the linebacker. I feel so bad because I feel like the linebacker gets through and he clears Bodker. And from his field of vision, he's like, oh, I'm about to make this play. This is me right here. He's already thinking, okay, what type of celebration am I going to do for this tackle? I can't wait to watch this play on Monday in the film room. Like, I'm super excited. Morse comes out of nowhere with that quickness. Boom, erases him. And then excellent point on the backside. Darrell Williams sets up Spencer Brown for success. Look at that turn from Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown is engaged. He's got his man locked. And then look at him start to torque and turn those hips so that his butt is in the hole. So he is completely walling off his defender. And he turns his man so well that secondary defender who's trying to come down and make a play is also walled off. Spencer Brown basically takes out two people. Boom, you pointed him out right there. He basically takes out two people in one block and allows Singletary to get right up the alley. Darrell Williams also does a good job on this play, aside from the punch, getting to that second level. Darrell Williams did a really good job in this game getting to the second level in these zone blocks and working in combination in tandem with both Morse and Spencer Brown. And again, the theme of this episode and what you led with, it's more complementary football. Multiple people doing things to help one another, allowing for individual and then team success based off of it. Good execution, and I love the zone piece mixed with physicality and how the Bills executed. It was really well done, and again, another wrinkle. I think that we're not going to get into it in this episode, but that's the type of thing the Bills need against Kansas City, to be able to run that type of scheme and execute it, to be able to set up the pass with the run and be able to make the Chiefs have to be accountable for that threat.
Yeah, and this is the last play of our breakdown. It's a pass set from Mitch Morse, and this is something I learned this past summer from Bobby Johnson, the offensive line coach of the Bills. He did a clinic for the Cool Clinic, which is a bunch of offensive linemen and masterminds get together and they share tricks and trades and all that good stuff. Good clinic. I posted it on our Twitter page. I'll share it later or put it in the description if you guys want to take a look at this. So let's start from the top. Okay, first, the defensive formation and alignment. First of all, the guys I have circled are defensive ends. They're inside. They're off the line of scrimmage. Look how far off the line of scrimmage they are. And as an offensive lineman and Mitch Morse, that is like, okay, alert. We need to be on alert for a twist. Why? Because those are the defensive ends. And then, of course, these are the defensive tackles. Like, okay, some kind of game is coming on third down. You can see at the top of the screen, it's third down. So right off the bat, the formation's like, okay, something hinky's going on here. And so what Mitch Morse does as a twist occurs, he does what we call pop set. He just pops out of his pass set. He just pops out. You see him gain depth right here. He just backpedals and vertical sets backwards. Why? Because he knows there's something going on with all four of these guys. And there is. It's a terrible stunt. But watch how he gains depth and how it helps the young Spencer Brown, because now the defensive tackle that was out here on the edge is doing an arm over and he's climbing inside here. But because of the pop set from Mitch Morse, he's able to pick it up. And now look at the pocket and where Josh is able to, get rid of the throw. Now it does go incomplete. It's almost intercepted, but that's the type of headiness, intelligence, and just experience that Mitch Morse brings to the game. Again, watch it from this angle. Again, you have Jacob Martin diving in here. Okay, he's a defensive end edge player. Merciless is right here. And then you got some defensive tackles here, and they're leaving Brown on an island by himself. Well, this guy Martin is diving inside for a reason. Well, Mitch Morse just gains depth. Gets his head on a swivel. Kirksey's not rushing. That would have been his guy if he did. Well, let me go help the young buck out and pick his guy up and put him to the turf. I mean, he brought the physicality. That's crazy that we're talking about that with Mitch Morse now, because if he adds that for the long run, this offensive line is going to be in good shape regardless of who they put around him.
Yeah, this offensive line takes a big jump if Mitch Morse is bringing that physicality. Also, not to pick on the Texans on this play, I find it super comical and almost like Three Stooge-like how all three defensive linemen on the right side basically collide into one another and just execute this horribly. Like, it's just so bad up front, and it just creates absolute chaos. They all run into each other. It's not great. But Morse, again, is that highlight. You nailed it with the pop set, and he retreats. He scans for penetration. And then what's also beautiful too is, you mentioned it, when he supports Spencer Brown here, right? He makes contact. He locks out. He doesn't give up ground. He doesn't get backed up. He allows for Josh Allen to have a nice, clean pocket, a nice lane where he can step up and make a throw. Granted, there's not a completion on this play, but Morse, everything you're supposed to do here. He reads the rush up front, recognizes, okay, my man's not coming. I see what's going on the left. Let me keep scanning. I'm basically just kind of playing like a spy back there and seeing who's the first person to leak through that I can help out with. His head is on a swivel. He's scanning for penetration, helps the young buck, like you said, and he does it physically, gives up no ground. And he's somebody who's always been a technically sound player, but adding that physicality to the technique has allowed him to play on another level in this game and so far this year. And I mean, I think it's something that the entire offensive line will benefit from and can learn from. And again, it just allows the Bills offense to continue to be multiple, to continue to have variety, and allow for multiple avenues to attack defenses, which is already tough considering we have one of the best passing attacks in the NFL, knock on wood.
Yeah, it was, I like these kind of film reviews. It's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, guys. Like having to watch. Okay, I got the film yesterday afternoon around dinner time, and to have to break down both sides of the ball to get the clips up so we can, put the graphics and stuff on and bring this show to you. It's a lot of work, but we love doing it. You guys hear our enthusiasm during these shows. And like we said, when we're done with this, we're usually going back and forth and like, man, because things come up when you're breaking down film that maybe you missed, or maybe like you're like, man, that's a great point. And you guys are even bringing it in the channel. The fact that John, our boy, is recognizing Spencer Brown taking a guy into the stands on a block and finishing reps. Like, we appreciate that. That really it's a rewarding thought that we have when you guys are able to see film the way we like to break down film. So we appreciate that, John, as always. So with that said, as far as content for me goes, I'm going to have some more probably focused content, maybe looking at individual players from this game as the week progresses. And then I'll change, turn the page and start looking at some Chiefs stuff. But I like to analyze specific players for a couple more days. But with you, Anthony, I can't keep track. As I always say, I can't keep track on what you got going on. For all I know, you're supposed to do an appearance in the next half hour and then go watch the big baseball game. But tell everyone where they can find you on social media and what you have, on deck for content this week.
Sure. Actually, before I do that, I wanted to give you, Jason mentioned this, saying that when I see these film reviews, I just picture Erik sitting there drawing all the lines and arrows and stuff and how much time that must take. That's 1,000% what it is. Like, I love doing the film room and, I genuinely appreciate being a part of it. But a lot of this comes from Erik. We go back and forth on, who should we focus on or what should we focus on? But Erik is the one grinding and cutting up the film and adding the details and the lines. He's running the film and the clips during this episode, which it may sound simple, but it's super hard and super stressful. So massive credit to you and shout out to you for all the work that you put in and everything you do.
Come on.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me come along for the ride. And
of course.
So yeah, I'm here on the film room. I'm also host of Disguise Coverage, which airs live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. right before the Cover One Buffalo show with Greg and Aaron. Appreciate the donation there, Brian. Something. Thank you very much, and the kind words. Tomorrow night's going to be a good one. I got Kent Swanson from the KC Sports Network. He's super great.
He's good.
He's going to be joining me for the first half of the show. We're going into a lot of detail in terms of how this matchup looks for the Bills and Chiefs, what to expect, what vulnerabilities do the Chiefs have. We're going to get into some tendencies and some matchups and analytics. So I'm super pumped to have him on the show tomorrow. Back half of the episode, I'm going to focus on some more Ed Oliver and some Star Lotulelei with a bit of Tremaine Edmonds in there as well. So super pumped for that. Thursday nights, live at 7:45, heading into Thursday Night Football. You can find me as one of the co-hosts for Cover One Fantasy, along with Greg Thompson for the Cover One Buffalo show. Yep, I'm there for that. And then you can find me also as one of the three co-hosts for the Cover One post game every week. So this Sunday, you can find myself, Greg Thompson, Aaron Quinn live probably at like 11:45.
Super late. Past my bedtime.
Late. Yeah, way past your bedtime, past mine. To break down the immediate post-game reactions to Chiefs Bills. So yeah, I'm on pretty much 4 Cover One shows every week, but I'm loving it. You give me this platform. I'm super pumped. And yeah, you can find me pretty much anywhere and everywhere on Cover One.
Hey, there's a reason I call him the workhorse of Cover One. That's his moniker. That's his name. That's Anthony Prohaska from Disguised Coverage. Make sure you check out all of his content. You see his handle on the screen there. I'm your host for the Film Room, Eric Turner, owner of Cover One. We appreciate everyone tuning in, all of the engagement, all of the contributions. Again, if you signed up for a super chat and sent us a donation of $30, make sure that you send an email with your YouTube ID and your email and name and everything like that. Send it to that email right there, and I can get you set up with a premium membership. We're going to be running that pretty much for the next couple of weeks. So make sure you guys get to cover1.net. If you weren't able to sign up for the premium membership, make sure to get to cover1.net and sign up for that premium sub. It's great. You guys will be able to talk to us all day, every day, and ask any questions to us. Access to in-depth content, paywalled content from Rob and Kyle. So we couldn't do this without you guys. We appreciate everyone still being here. Again, that's Anthony Prohaska from Disguised Coverage. I'm Eric Turner. We'll see you next week.